Have you ever felt that something invisible is acting in your life, for better or worse, and you don't know how to access that force? What if I told you there is a psalm that, when read every day, activates a powerful supernatural protection, capable of transforming your days and your mind? In this video, you will discover the mystery behind this psalm, how it creates a real spiritual covering, and why so many people have experienced incredible deliverances by putting it into practice. If you are tired of fear, anxiety, or feeling helpless, stay with me until the end, because this could change everything. Have you ever thought about what happens in the spiritual world when you read a psalm every day? Psalm 91 is not just a beautiful text. It is an activation of divine protection, an invisible shield covering those who practice it with faith. This practice creates a spiritual covering that strengthens the soul and brings deliverance. Repeating this powerful prayer is like building a spiritual fortress that silences fear and calms the heart. Consistency transforms the simple act of reading into a shield against the terror of the night and the struggles of daily life. It's more than reading. It is biblical meditation that changes life. But wait, there's more. When you enter this refuge, something happens beyond protection, a connection that transcends the visible and changes your faith forever. Do you know what changes when you activate the promises of Psalm 91 daily? It is the difference between going through life in fear or with full confidence. This practice creates a spiritual anchorage that drives away anxiety and strengthens faith. It's not magic, it's faith in action. Every time you read and declare this word, you water deep roots that sustain your soul in difficult times. God honors perseverance, and consistency makes spiritual deliverance manifest. And if you think this is just protection, hold on, because what comes next will surprise you even more. Have you ever imagined an invisible place where you can hide and be fully protected? The refuge of the Most High is that place, a spiritual sanctuary where God covers and strengthens. It is not a hiding place to flee, but to rest and fight with peace. Dwelling in this place means being under the shadow of the Almighty, protected from visible and invisible attacks. Daily meditation creates this space where the soul finds rest and divine protection. It is a true spiritual covering. But wait, because when you begin to dwell in this refuge, something profound happens, and it goes beyond what you imagine. Dwelling in God is more than believing. It is making Him your constant home. Psalm 91 speaks of this dwelling in the eye, refuge of the Most High, where the soul finds security and faith is strengthened daily. Those who dwell there live under a divine guard that protects from everything, physical, emotional, and spiritual. It is a living covenant built through powerful prayer and the Word of God. Meditating on this psalm creates firm roots in the soul. But hold on, because dwelling in this place activates real deliverances that will change your life in surprising ways. It may seem strange, but an invisible spiritual place protects from real dangers. The refuge of the Most High functions as an invisible shield that diverts physical, emotional, and spiritual attacks. 1,000 may fall at your side, but you remain protected. This protection is not luck. It is a biblical promise and divine guard working in your life. It reaches from the body to the heart, driving away anxiety and fear. Daily meditation on Psalm 91 creates this force field around the mind and soul. And it doesn't stop there, because what God builds inside those who dwell in this place goes far beyond protection. Do you believe in promises that surpass human logic? Because Psalm 91 is full of them, and they are not metaphors. They are heavenly guarantees given to those who trust. 1,000 shall fall at your side, and 10,000 at your right hand, but it shall not come near you. This is not beautiful poetry. It is supernatural protection. It is the kind of promise the world doesn't understand, but heaven honors. And those who declare it every day live surrounded by realities beyond the natural. This protection is not a common invisible fence. It is a spiritual field activated by faith and consistency. Some people wake up, declare the psalm to read every day, and go to work as if nothing changed. But in the spiritual world, movement has occurred. Angels were released. Arrows were diverted. Doors were locked. God protects even when you don't realize you are in danger. And look, this doesn't happen by human merit. Divine protection is the fruit of relationship, not effort. It is a promise for those who dwell, not for visitors. It is for those who make powerful prayer a practice, not a mechanical ritual. That is why those who live the power of Psalm 91 are not surprised by deliverances. They only give thanks because they know where it comes from. But don't be mistaken. These promises don't stop at protection. They expand to an even deeper level, that of inner transformation. Because the greatest deliverance is not escaping evil. It is having a heart that does not bend before it. Have you ever stopped to imagine what this phrase really means? 1,000 shall fall at your side, 10,000 at your right hand, but you shall not be harmed. This is not just a beautiful verse. It is a declaration of war against fear. In times when bad news arises at every corner, this promise from Psalm 91 sounds like a shield in the middle of the battlefield. And no, it is not an exaggeration. It is exactly that, a shield in the form of a word. The Bible is not saying that evil won't happen. It is saying that even if everything collapses around you, God protects you. This is spiritual deliverance at the highest level. It is walking among those who fall and standing firm. It is seeing crises, illnesses, attacks, and knowing there is a spiritual covering guarding your home, your mind, your soul, not by luck, but by promise. And a written promise does not return empty. I have seen people go through situations where everyone around failed, but they moved forward, not by their own strength, but because every day they declared this song. It was their daily shield, their fortress. And this repeats more than you imagine. There are silent testimonies everywhere, sustained by this psalm of protection that many ignore. But those who live it don't trade it for anything. And if this already surprises you, hold on, because the psalm doesn't stop here. The next passage reveals something even deeper, a personal, direct, intimate promise made by God Himself in the first person. How many times have you escaped? Something in thought, if I had left 2 minutes earlier, if I hadn't answered that call. See, not every deliverance comes with fireworks. Many are subtle, silent, but absolutely real. What happens when you read Psalm 91 every day is exactly that. You activate a protection route that may not always be visible, but will be inevitable for those who live in the refuge. Spiritual deliverances are like invisible fences. You don't see them, but they are there, preventing things that would destroy you emotionally, mentally, and even physically from touching you. It is when that toxic message doesn't arrive, when that wrong alliance does not materialize, when the enemy's plan is intercepted by a divine move. Divine guard manifests where human eyes cannot reach. And it's not just about avoiding accidents. We're talking about protection against destructive thoughts, spiritual oppressions, attacks that come as anxiety, insomnia, despair. The psalm, to read every day, not only guards externally, it cleanses internally. And this daily cleansing, this spiritual reset, is what keeps many standing even amid chaos. But hold on, because what might be the most intimate and powerful part of this entire psalm is still coming. The moment when God not only promises, He speaks directly, in the first person. And when God speaks to you like that, something very deep begins to happen. Some people don't read Psalm 91 because they think it's just repetition. But those who live this practice daily know it is not a ritual, it is a revolution. I've heard stories of mothers who declared this psalm over their children before sleeping, and the next day they escaped accidents. People who were about to make wrong decisions, but reciting the protective verses, felt peace to step back. This is not theory, it is life happening. A Christian driver once told me that when leaving home, he felt the urge in his heart to read the protection psalm. During the trip, the car in front lost control, but stopped inches from his. The detail? He had declared, "1,000 shall fall at your side," just minutes before. Coincidence? Maybe. If you still don't understand what it means to dwell in the refuge of the Most High, these experiences are not exclusive to spiritual leaders or super believers. They belong to ordinary people who decided to make biblical meditation a daily practice, who understood that in the spiritual world, consistency is stronger than occasional intensity. Reading this psalm every day does not just transform the environment, it changes the pattern of your heart's response to life. But if these stories already inspire you, imagine what happens when this constant reading begins to affect not only your circumstances, but your deepest emotions. Because in the next step, we will talk about victory over fear and anxiety, and how Psalm 91 works directly there inside. How many nights have you spent without proper sleep, just with your mind spinning in a spiral? Fear of the future, anxiety of the now, the what-ifs that never stop whispering. Now imagine starting each day declaring, "You shall not fear the terror of the night, nor the arrow that flies by day." This is the promise of Psalm 91 for those who decide to trust. It's not just a nice phrase. It is a weapon against the invisible unrest that eats away the soul. When you read this protection psalm every day, you are reprogramming your mind with truth. What once held you back now strengthens you. Fear still appears, but does not dominate. Anxiety still tries to invade, but finds a wall of powerful prayer and trust. It's as if each verse were an anchor thrown into the sea of doubt, securing your heart on the rock that is Christ. And there's more. By declaring this word of God repeatedly, you train your soul to rest. You learn to rest in the awe. Lord, even when everything is chaos. This is faith in motion. And little by little, without noticing, you begin to respond differently. Less explosive reactions, more silence with peace. Less despair, more spiritual discernment. It is a true inner renewal. But hold on, because something precious is coming. A part of the psalm that is almost hidden, but carries an inexplicable power. The moment when God speaks directly, in the first person, and when the Creator decides to answer those who dwell, He does not just protect, He gets involved. Have you felt that silent fear that comes when night falls? The terror of the night is not just a poetic expression. It is a real challenge many face. The arrow that flies by day represents unexpected attacks, worries, and anxieties that come when least expected. Psalm 91 understands these dangers and offers protection that goes beyond what the eyes can see. Reading this psalm every day is like putting on spiritual armor against these invisible threats. Each verse acts as a shield, blocking the arrows of fear and doubt. And the most impressive thing is that this protection is continuous, because those who dwell in the refuge of the Most High have a divine guard that never fails, day or night. Moreover, spiritual attacks are not always obvious. They often come as negative thoughts, doubts, and insecurities that insist on lodging in the heart. But the constant practice of reading and meditating on Psalm 91 strengthens the mind and disarms these attacks before they cause damage, bringing peace that does not depend on circumstances. Have you noticed how the human mind is a room full of conflicting thoughts? Anxiety, fear, worries that come and go like waves on the sea. Daily reading of Psalm 91 works as a spiritual filter that purifies this environment, bringing clarity and serenity. It is not just a mental exercise. It is a powerful prayer that works on the soul. When you dedicate yourself to this practice, something begins to happen. The restless heart finds rest, anxiety loses strength, and confidence becomes a habit. It is like cleaning the dust off an old window and suddenly letting light in. This spiritual cleansing strengthens faith and helps maintain focus on the biblical promises God made to those who trust Him. Furthermore, this daily meditation process creates a space of intimacy with God, where the spirit rests and renews. It is in this spiritual silence that answers begin to appear, direction becomes clear, and peace becomes constant, even amid challenges. And the best part is that this peace is not fleeting. It is the fruit of the spiritual covering that only Psalm 91 can offer. Have you ever stopped to think that at the end of Psalm 91, God changes the tone and begins to speak directly? It's as if He opens a window to an intimate relationship, where promises become personal and protection turns into dialogue. This passage reveals a love that goes beyond formality. It is a deep conversation between the Creator and those who chose to dwell in the refuge of the Most High. This first-person moment is more than words. It is a confirmation of covenant. God promises help, constant presence, and victory over the enemy. It is not distant, not impersonal. It is spiritual deliverance, arriving with voice and touch. It is the God who knows your name, your struggles, and your faith, and responds with concrete actions. And this intimacy is not a privilege of a few. Anyone who meditates on the psalm every day can experience this connection. It is the fruit of perseverance, trust, and love built over time. Because when you enter this dialogue, life will never be the same. You begin to walk with divine guard on your side. Have you felt the impact of hearing God speak directly to you? At the end of Psalm 91, God's voice gains strength and closeness. When He says, "Because He has set His love upon me, I will deliver him. I will set him on high, because he has known my name." This is not a generic speech, but a personal promise that transforms fear into absolute security. When God speaks in the first person, He not only assures protection, but makes it clear that He knows every detail of your life, your fears, battles, doubts. It is the Word of God gaining face and voice, bringing a spiritual covering far beyond what we can imagine. This divine speech is the culminating point of all the power of Psalm 91. It is exactly here that unshakable faith is born, because there are no more doubts about who is in control. It is an invitation to enter the refuge with confidence, knowing we are not alone. And this strengthens the soul, sustains the heart, and opens doors to spiritual victories that once seemed impossible. The relationship of love and divine response is the point where faith ceases to be just a feeling and becomes a living experience. God is not distant. He responds to the heart that dwells in His refuge. This constant dialogue strengthens trust and transforms prayer into a meeting of love and protection, where the Word of God comes alive and divine guard becomes tangible daily. In practice, this intimacy produces concrete results: peace amid the storm, clear direction when everything seems uncertain, and a protection that manifests both physically and spiritually. Those who keep this bond active reap daily fruits: less fear, more courage; less anxiety, more confidence; fewer doubts, more faith. It is the power of Psalm 91 working in routine. This peace, direction, protection, and confidence do not come from nowhere. They are fruits of the cumulative impact of daily repetition. Reading and meditating on the psalm every day is not a mechanical act, but a spiritual weapon that strengthens the soul, broadens vision, and creates a solid spiritual covering. Over time, faith becomes unshakable, and biblical promises become the foundation to face any challenge. Finally, this daily habit transforms life profoundly, creating a virtuous cycle. The more you strengthen yourself in powerful prayer and biblical meditation, the more God acts in your favor, generating real victories, spiritual deliverances, and a life anchored in the certainty that you are protected always. This is not just a story. This changes your life. Now that you know the transforming power of Psalm 91, how about starting today to practice this daily reading? Imagine how your life can change when you place yourself under this divine protection, strengthening your faith and overcoming fear. Are you ready to take this step and experience real victories? What have you done to protect yourself spiritually? What changes would you like to see in your life? Share in the comments. I want to hear your story. And don't forget, subscribe to the channel and activate notifications to keep receiving teachings that will strengthen your spiritual journey. Your path to peace and protection starts now.